My dishwasher is running right now, so hopefully it's not too loud. So this is the sequel to my most recent video monologue. In the first video, I argued that a tariff would be a bad idea due to it preventing the growth in other areas, among other reasons. I will put the link in the description. Be sure to check it out. However, in this video, I will discuss reasons why imposing a tariff may be good. So let's begin. The first reason a tariff may be good is because the tariff opens up opportunities for American businesses to develop and grow. For example, Japan's biggest export is automobiles, which account for 22% of its total exports. If the US would all of a sudden tariff Japanese imports, then less Japanese automobiles would be exported to the US. This means that although prices would go up in the US, you would see more incentive for manufacturers to develop more automobiles to offset the lack of automobiles being exported by Japan. The second reason correlates to the first reason. With the required increase in automobile production comes the required employment needed to produce those automobiles. You would see more Americans being hired as opposed to foreign citizens reaping the fiscal benefits of trade. The goal of a tariff is to bring more domestic goods and services to a nation through independent production of those goods and services. This inspires inner growth of the nation, as well as opportunity to develop better means of production, which then could be used to help mold international trade with others. So as an example, as the quality of US automobiles increases, the more likely foreign nations will purchase these automobiles, and the more likely the US will be able to dictate the type of trade they want. Also, tariffs don't just affect the nations imposing them. It does affect the nations benefiting from the lack of them. If we would all of a sudden cut Japanese off from trade, it wouldn't just be the US who suffers. Japan would also lose a large outlet for their exports and would experience fiscal malfeasance, which the US could then use as a bargaining tool to help modify pre-existing trade deals with other nations, or in this case, Japan. Some even argue that tariffs ensure standards are upheld, such as no child labor, minimum wage, etc., etc. Personally, I feel the minimum wage is more detrimental than good. If you want to see real job growth, you would end regulations, end the minimum wage, end government subsidies, and promote R&D tax credits in low-income areas so businesses can take the risk of producing in new locations without worrying about malinvestment. A big reason poverty-stricken areas remain in poverty is due to businesses not expanding into those poverty-stricken areas. Not because low-income areas consist of higher crime rates, which does play an important part, but because the risk outweighs the reward. Government regulations are very burdensome to small businesses, especially small businesses trying to start up for the first time. But that's another topic. So in conclusion, this video and my last video are two different viewpoints regarding tariffs. I think both of them have merit, and it's a tough call to determine which one is most beneficial. It appears in the short term, imposing a tariff would be more detrimental to the US, but its potential long-term effects could outweigh the short-term negative effects. So what do you think? If you like what you see, please consider subscribing and being a patron. The Piper Report is an alternative news source that discusses topics you won't hear from the corporate media, and a special thanks to my patrons. And I'm done.